And we welcome you into our debate between Stephanie Almagno and Tom Whitney. They are both mayoral candidates for the city of Baldwin. And let me briefly tell you how this will work. We are going to let them have a 1-minute opening statement, and then we will ask questions. All of these questions have come from outsiders. None of these questions have come from anyone here in the studio or affiliated with WCHM. There is a reason behind that. We have been accused of being biased and told that it would be an interesting debate. So because of that reason, we decided that none of the questions would come from WCHM. They will have 2 minutes to answer each question. There will be a 1-minute rebuttal after that. At the end of the debate, there will be a time that people can call in and present questions to us. Peter will be answering the phones. He will take your questions, and then we will present them to the candidates. If you want to listen to this, your friends want to listen, you can listen live here on 94.3. Our telephone to call in after the debate is 706-839-1490. We will not be giving the weather during this debate to save time and give more chance for the candidates to answer questions. At the end, like I said, you can call in and we will present your questions to the candidates. I expect respect here in the studio, and the candidates have been given the rules. We had a coin toss earlier. Stephanie Almagno won that coin toss and has decided that she will go first. So, Stephanie, and Peter is timing you on your 1-minute time. So if you would like to give your opening statement.
Well, good morning, everybody. Muy buenos dias to all our listeners. I'd like to thank WCHM Radio and Hazel for providing the opportunity for the Baldwin mayoral debate. I am Stephanie Almagno. I am a resident of Habersham County since 1995. I've lived in Baldwin since 2000, where my husband, a small business owner, and I have raised our daughter. Isabella graduated from Habersham Central High School in 2018. I have served on a number of boards for the county. I have chaired the Demorest Downtown Development Authority, and I've served on community boards including Circle of Hope and Volunteers for Literacy. I have been on the council since 2020. It was an interesting and creative time to be on council. I bring to this position integrity, knowledge, experience. I'm ready to go on day one.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. And Tom Whitney?
First of all, I'd like to thank Hazel, WCHM, for having us here this morning. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Tom.
As well. My name's Tom Whitney. I've been a resident here of Baldwin for over 3 years now. Previously, I lived in the western suburbs of Chicago. A lot of people like to reference that I am from Chicago. I am not from Chicago. I bring that up as it's a major city because maybe people don't know where Naperville or Aurora are in the western suburbs. Born and raised in Minneapolis. Look forward to being here today. And actually, Stephanie, I'm looking forward to spending time talking with you. It feels like over the past month and a half, I've been running against somebody else, the acting mayor of Baldwin, and I'm excited to hear and interested to hear what your views are and what your stances are. Thank you.
Okay. And neither one of you took your whole 1 minute, so very good. So we will now begin. And I will go ahead and begin the questions. First question, and you have 2 minutes to answer this, and we will begin with Stephanie. What attracts you to this position?
Well, I've been on the city council for 4 years, actually longer than Tom's been in Georgia, and I love this city. I've lived here since 2000, grew my daughter up here, and I've watched the city develop and grow and change and face some real, not existential threats, but threats from the outside, Hall County moving up. These are conversations we need to have. So one of the things I've been able to do is help moderate the growth. We can talk about density, for example, on the city council. When developers come, one of the things that we have fought really hard to do is moderate that density. So I think having practical solutions to important citizen questions and concerns is what really attracts me to this job.
Okay, anything you want to add?
Oh, yeah, I could talk all day. I mean, we could talk about water, we could talk about infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, this job is a complicated system, and I think that's what attracts me to it. You cannot solve a problem in a vacuum. You have to see what our citizens face in this complicated system.
Okay. And Tom, what attracts you to this job?
Over the past 20 years, I have been in the banking and mortgage finance industry, and 10 years prior to that, I was an associate pastor and youth minister in the United Methodist Church. These past 20 years, I've had the privilege of leading hundreds of men and women to grow and hold a shared vision of making a difference in people's lives, whether that is putting people in a better financial situation for refinancing their home, or whether it may be helping someone achieve that dream of home ownership for the first time. And it's, as I have spent the last 7 to 8 months, I see a lot of opportunities in Baldwin. I'm a citizen. I'm a conservative, and for that reason, I care very deeply about the taxation and what the fees that go along and how we generate revenue. I believe that things that have taken place even over the past week and a half are indicative of opportunities that we have to make Baldwin a better place for people to live. I want people to want to live in Baldwin. I want people to want to set up shop and open a business in Baldwin. I want our neighbors to want to do business with Baldwin and to partner with us. And I say that specifically because I think we're lacking in that area. I think there's a lot of haves. They have to do such. And I think that we've made great strides. I think there have been some great things that have gone on in Baldwin, but I think that what we have seen with the leadership.
Time is up. Okay. Stephanie, would you like your 1-minute rebuttal?
Well, I appreciate Tom's acknowledgement that there has been growth in Baldwin. There has been. When I came in 2020, we were facing a pandemic. We were facing supply shortages. We were facing budgetary constrictions. And we have taken these past 4 years to clean up our house and to make our foundation solid. Do we want more businesses in Baldwin? Yes, but I am proud of the businesses that are here. We have steel cell, we have window companies. It's a good place to work and live.
Okay. And on that note, we are going to take a break here and come back more with Stephanie and Tom after these messages. We have Stephanie Almagno and Tom Whitney in the studio this morning debating as they are both running for mayor of Baldwin. And my next question to you, and I think it is Tom's time to start first. Am I correct in that? What roles do you consider important as the mayor of Baldwin, and what is their significance? And Tom, you can start now.
I think the mayor is the face of the city. The mayor is the person that the citizens, when they think of and when they have pride, they think of that person first and foremost. that person may not have a vote per se, but that person is the one who helps to bridge gaps, helps to build relationships, helps to repair relationships, helps to set forth a vision for what the city can look like, and one who engages people, one who listens. I'll be honest, I think that we have been lacking that. I think that we have had a mayor, an acting mayor, that has been everything but that. Somebody who has degraded our citizens, who has insulted our customers publicly on social media. And there's a time we need change. We have a disengaged community. When you have a town hall and 4 people show up, when you have all of your department heads that come and get ready, dressed in their best, excited to share the things that they've accomplished over the course of the year, and 4 people show up, we should all be embarrassed. And that lies on the mayor. It does. It lies on the mayor to generate that enthusiasm, that excitement, that vision about what the city can be.
Okay. Stephanie?
Thank you.
What roles do you consider important as mayor of Baldwin, and what is their significance?
Well, as Tom said, the mayor is outward facing for the citizens. Absolutely. As I knock doors through the neighborhood, I'm pleased to hear from citizens that they like the direction that we're going with more events, with more police patrol in neighborhoods. Those are things that the mayor can advocate for, obviously, as one of the 6 on the council. The mayor is also facing the city, and the mayor is an advocate for the employees as well. So that mayor has that dual responsibility, the outward facing and the inward facing. And we have been able to shore up salaries, $15 minimum wage at least. In Baldwin, we've drawn more police officers, fire, we're fully staffed. So we have to protect the house, and that house is both that outward facing the citizens and the inward facing our employees.
Okay. Tom, would you like to have a minute rebuttal?
Yes. I agree with there have been good things that have gone on. And regardless of who would be in the mayoral position, those things would happen. They would continue. In fact, I'm confident that they would explode. I mean, they would, and I agree with protecting our people. But, at the same time, when you protect one individual particularly more than the others, and how you handle their salary behind closed doors, funny enough, no pun intended, it shows a lack of leadership and judgment.
Okay. Next question. How would you, and Stephanie, this is for you, how would you handle communication and collaboration with other members of the council? And your time starts now.
With other members of the council?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, as the mayor, obviously you are you're the face of the city. You're the one who galvanizes the energy. You bring that leadership quality. I think it's really important that we talk about the kind of leadership styles that we have, and mine is very collaborative, very hands-on. So working with department heads, working with members of the council, and being that bridge, being that conduit between the needs of the staff and the citizens to the council, for me, is key. So if you came into my office, for example, you would see bridges. I feel like I'm a bridge builder between counties and the city, between people and the city. So that metaphor for me as a bridge builder is very important. We're going to have new members of the council. We'll have seasoned members of the council, and it would be incumbent upon the new mayor to help bring along the new folks that are on the council.
Okay. Tom?
As a, was it same question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. As a leader, you need to listen to people. There are a lot of ideas. Nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. We have a lot of challenges in front of us, and everything and anything should be listened to. And I think that part of the role also of the mayor is to ensure that everybody is listening, has and understands what somebody else is saying, is able to communicate in a non-biased way. Here's some of what I'm hearing from some of the department heads. Here are some issues that we hear from City Hall. Here are some issues that we hear from the citizens or businesses and challenges they're facing. And to work together, because at the end of the day, the last thing that I would want would be to go in and be addressing an issue in council where somebody is feeling ostracized, or that somebody's not feeling that they're heard, and that their voice is not valued. I think it's the mayor that leads that effort, and it's also the mayor as the one who presides at council. If there's somebody out there that is behaving in a way that's unbecoming someone who is an elected official, it's their role to call that out and not just sit silent. And I would say that it would be that way as well for anyone who is on council.
I guess my question really was, how are you going to communicate, though? What is your communication style?
In person, I like to talk. I probably talk too much. I'm not a person that I don't emails or whatnot is fine, but I think that a lot more can be addressed when you're in person.
Okay. Stephanie, would you like to have a rebuttal to that?
Well, we have to remember that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and sometimes it's better to sit and listen and watch what's going on than speak in public. My leadership style is also not to chastise people in public. I think as a Roman Catholic, we prayed for grace. And I think one of the things that we need to do is have grace when we deal with our staff. It's not optimal to chastise somebody in public when things are handled better behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you. And we are having a debate between the mayoral contestants for the city of Baldwin, Stephanie Almagno and Tom Whitney. And we were just joking in here about the mob. And apparently we said something this morning. We don't remember what we had for breakfast 10 minutes ago, let alone what we said on the air 30 minutes ago. But you have to take us with a grain of salt around here. Everybody knows that. Anyway, anything we said about the mob was not intended earlier today.
No offense taken.
But we will continue on. And having said that, I'm not sure who answered the last question first. I think it was Stephanie.
Just pick one. I have
remember.
lost track.
You can go first again if you want.
No, I think it's. Is
it me?
I think it's Tom's turn.
I don't think we shook hands at the beginning of the
Good
debate.
morning.
Yeah, I don't think you did either. We did the coin toss. We do remember that. So
We did outside.
it's all good in here. So, okay, let's pull a question out of here. What I do want to ask you, because you have done a very, very good job, and I will say this, of answering a lot of these questions that I haven't even asked yet. So I have to really go through these very carefully. In what ways has your past experience, whether in committees, politics, or volunteer work, prepared you for the role of mayor? Tom?
The mayor of Baldwin is the way the charter is set up is the mayor is the chief executive officer of the city and is responsible for overseeing everything that's going on. I've always, in the positions that I've held in whether I was at Bank of America or Loan Depot, I had multiple levels of managers and people that reported up through me. And I've always, actually, I was kind of I think one of my weaknesses, if you want to call it that, is I can be sometimes too hands off. Is once, when somebody is on doing their thing and doing it well, I let them run. And sometimes I can forget that really to be there, not be there, but have a little more oversight. But one thing that is important is getting them there. It's identifying and helping them identify the opportunities that they have to grow, the opportunities that they have to get better. And I think right now, this past week, the way the millage rate was handled, for example, and I take taxation is one of the things I take the most seriously outside of public safety. When we ask our citizens to put, give their money, we have. I think that our opportunities with how we budget, how we handle millage rate, has there's a lot of opportunity to work with City Hall to identify things up front before it gets put out in public. Because I think that switching the millage rate these 3 different times made us look as if we didn't know, and made council look like they didn't know what was going on. And so I really think that is something that we need to improve, and I think that was where my experience lends to that.
Okay, Stephanie?
Can you repeat the question, Hazel, please?
Yes. In your, excuse me, I need to start this timer over. In what ways has your past experience, whether in committees, politics, or volunteer work, prepared you for the role of mayor?
Thanks. That's a really great question, and one that probably can be answered in 30 minutes, not 2 minutes. So first, I need to make a correction on something that Tom said. Tom said that the mayor is the CEO of the city. When you read our city charter, the mayor is absolutely not the CEO. Most of the responsibilities of that position have been ceded over to our chief administrative officer. So that person is responsible for the day-to-day the day-to-day operations of the city. Now, what have I done that I can use in my work as mayor? Obviously, I've got excellent and deep community relationships. I feel very comfortable calling commissioners from Habersham or from Banks County, first name basis, talking to people about the relationships that we have. My experience with women in the community, with women who have been victims of domestic violence or in treatment for breast cancer, when you actually see people's material conditions daily, you understand the needs of our citizens. Taxation, very important. I take umbrage at what Tom said, that the millage rate was changed 3 times, that the council looked like we didn't know what we were doing. Conversations about taxation are key. That's not our money. We work on those conversations. We usually work on them privately. Do mistakes happen? They do. But I'm not going to beat up my employees who might have made a mistake. You give people grace. So what have I learned? I've learned to take care of our residents, to make sure that people have what they need, to make sure that our staff has what they need, and we have to do it in a fiscally responsible way.
And would you like your 1
minute
rebuttal?
I agree. You don't beat up. You don't in any way beat up our people. Our people need help. I believe the CAO works very, very hard, and I believe that she needs help. But what you don't do is lie. You don't cover up. You don't cover up items that were identified, because when you have the newspaper bringing out the things that actually took place. That's where mistakes are okay, and we all make mistakes, of course, but we need to. It's what you do with the mistake. Do you identify the opportunity, and do you what are we doing to make a correction? And I agree, it shouldn't be out. It should not be in public. It should be something that is done out of respect and with dignity with the people that we work with, and this is something I have loads of experience with, and look forward to doing that as a mayor.
Time is up, Tom.
I have to respond to that.
I'm going to give you a minute to respond to that.
If you are saying our CAO lied, that is patently false. To besmirch the reputation of a diligent, hardworking servant to the community is outrageous. Conversations about the millage rate happen. Was there a mistake made? Yes. To say that somebody lied about the data is unconscionable.
I didn't say the CAO lied. I didn't say that. I said when you lie, and that lie came from the mayor. And I'll be happy to put it out there on social media, and I'll show everybody where that occurred.
Okay, Tom, you're running against me. So we can talk about my role in this. But again, I hope you see that I'm going to fight for my personnel.
And I respect that.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. Okay. In your opinion, as councilwoman running for mayor or as candidate for running for mayor, what are the accomplishments in Baldwin over the last 2 to 3 years, and what are the improvements, changes you would like to see accomplished under the leadership as the new mayor?
Yeah, thank you. So I took office in 2020 as the pandemic was falling upon us. And we were at a point where we needed vehicles, we needed salary increases, we needed to get a hold on our budget. I was surprised at the state of affairs of the city when I got there. My opponent is running on a remember when campaign, and I understand the nostalgia in that, but I can say, remember when the fire department had to sell plates of chicken to make money for turnout gear. That's not the case anymore. We have adequate guns for our officers. We have tasers. We have the Narcan needed to address the fentanyl crisis that we're seeing, not just in the county, but in our city as well. So what we have done through ARPA grants, through other grant opportunities, is to provide the equipment needed to better serve our citizens. So I think we have increased the safety of the public safety workers to help our citizens best. And what would I like to do in the future? I wish we could hit the lottery, because the first thing that I would do is complete everybody's CIP list. The goal is to have a win-win situation. So how can we afford what the city needs to better serve the residents? So if we hit the lottery, we would make sure that we had enough equipment and services to serve the citizens of the city.
Not hitting the lottery.
Not hitting the lottery, it's a lot of grant opportunity.
Okay. Tom?
Could you repeat the question, please?
In your opinion, as candidate for mayor, what are the accomplishments in Baldwin over the last 2 to 3 years, and what are the improvements or changes you would like to see accomplished under your leadership as mayor?
I think we've done a good job of. I'll admit I wasn't here at the time, but I know that the relationship with Demarest is strained, and I know that there's been a lot that's been done to improve that, and the partnership that we have with Demarest. What would I do? I'll give an example. When I asked a direct question a couple weeks ago at council, and I asked you, Stephanie. I said, when decisions in making decisions regards to salaries, I said, do we, you said that we will, for the example, the police force, that we gave, if they don't have enough money to raise salaries, you look for other opportunities such as PTO, or you had mentioned about calibrating firearms and other areas.
Buying new firearms.
Right, okay, yeah. So opportunities that you do. And then I said, was that done across the board? Is that handled across the board? And you said yes. But that is not the case. That was not the case in regards to how the CAO's salary was handled.
No, that's wrong. That's false. And again, you're not in the meetings. As a citizen from the outside, you're not seeing what is behind the scenes of that decision. So a salary study was done. There was analysis of the CAO salary in contiguous areas. And when you look, we were also at the point where we were building the budget. So it was important for us to take the salary study seriously at the moment that we did. This is not a conversation about a salary for her in particular, for the woman who's in the position, but to say, if this person were to leave Baldwin, could we replace this CEO position or the person in the position with another person at that salary? And the answer was no.
Can I ask a question
Okay.
quick?
Time is up.
Okay.
Okay. You chose to give her part of your time. Would you like to have a 1-minute rebuttal?
Sure, I'd like to finish the idea. So when we did the salary study, at that particular moment, because it was budget time, and we had to apply it to the budget. One thing you consider when you're making the budgets, and you're a finance guy, you know this, right, is that you have to think about, if somebody were to leave, can you afford to replace that person? So at this, whatever she was making, $60,000 salary, nobody was going to take the job for that. When other people in other communities were making more than she was. So we want the best person in the job, which means we needed a competitive salary. And so you don't say this you don't say this is Emily's salary. This is the salary for that position.
To break. We will be back here in just a moment with more of The Morning After and the debate between Stephanie Almagno and Tom Whitney. Today's show is brought to you by Gahey, Griffin, and Stewart Funeral Home, proudly serving families for over 85 years. You can find them at VFW Post Road in Cornelia. And I just want to say that we appreciate both of you being here this morning, okay?
Thank you.
Stephanie Almagno and Tom Whitney, both vying for the position of mayor of the city of Baldwin. And I do want to mention that you're one of the few cities that crosses over 2 counties. Mm-hmm. You have citizens in both Habersham and Banks County. So we hope that people from both sides are listening this morning. Stephanie, you are up next. Have you received any, and this is something that to me is very important, because we all know that when you have a position of in government, you go through certain training, but there are some people who choose not to go through that training. But have you received, and this is for both of you, any training in local government? If not, what specific training do you plan on seeking? And your time starts now.
I'm up first. Hazel, I'm up first.
Yeah, I thought it was Tom.
Oh, that's
Tom?
fine.
Okay.
I thought it was
That's
Tom.
fine. I have not received any formalized training in government. I think all of us have received enough training watching how the federal government runs and how probably we don't want to run it. And what I mean by that is that I think we all need to work together. And I think that we all share the frustrations of people not working together. Specific training, I mean, I'm unaware of. I'd like to be able to say, yeah, there's this class that I would like to take on this or that. I know where I'm not strong. You know, I mean, I have not developed land. I haven't done that. And so those are, but I know who to ask. I know who to partner with. I know who the experts are. And I think that anytime you're in a leadership position, you need to identify the areas where you can improve and seek out those who are the best at it. And I'll be honest, I think that the people that we have that work in our city are some of the best. They are, and I would rely very heavily on their expertise and their professionalism to be able to help gain that it's real training in many ways.
So you do plan on getting some training in government?
Yeah, I know there's a class you have to take, but I would want to get some to further my knowledge. Yes, in areas that I know that I'm not strong in, and areas I'll find out that I need to get better at.
And would you plan on taking this training before you take the position of mayor if you are elected?
I wouldn't say before necessarily.
So
but I won't say no. I don't. I would have to identify what that is at the time.
Okay. Stephanie?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hazel. Again, this is why I'm ready to go on day one. So 4 years on the city council with that practical experience. And then I've also taken over 120 hours of training through Georgia Municipal Association. GMA is a statewide organization that helps council people and mayors learn the craft of running a municipality. You're working with the best and the brightest from around the state. I've been able to take classes in legal issues, in meetings, in infrastructure, in water, in real estate issues. So GMA has provided an invaluable experience for me. What some people don't know is that I've paid for most of it myself too. Baldwin's training budget, and training budgets are a hot topic right now in Habersham County. We see on the front page of the newspaper today. The training budgets were cut for council during the pandemic, and fortunately my husband and I were able to afford the classes, and I've paid for most of them myself. I'm also earning my certified economic development certification through UGA, through the Carl Vinson Institute. So I've taken training really seriously. Again, I was an English professor, and so this was new for me. And I went to the heads of departments and said, teach me, help me learn, help me understand. And whether it was finance or fire, I've got an invaluable experience from our department heads as well.
And I think that's one thing that the people in government in Habersham County do take seriously is their training. And yes, that is why it's a hot topic in all the cities and in the county is who's going to pay for the training. And oftentimes it does lie on the individuals in these small cities. So thank you very much for that.
Can I let Tom know something about the training, or it's time?
Well, yeah, it's time, but he has a rebuttal on this.
Actually, I'll say that it sounds like GMA is a great place, and I certainly, if the citizens choose to elect me as their mayor, that I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you to identify some of those opportunities and to get your feedback on some of those areas in which there may be a benefit to me as well.
Okay. Next question. How do you and Stephanie, you get to go first on this one. How do you plan on maintaining relationships and partnerships with neighboring cities and local governments?
As I said in my open, I also chaired the Demorest Downtown Development Authority by virtue of my position at Piedmont College. I was able to serve on the DDA for a number of years. As most of your listeners remember, the relationship between Baldwin and Demorest was often contentious. As a matter of fact, Tom alluded to that earlier, that we had a bad relationship. I take a little bit of umbrage at that. Recently, the CAO, our city engineer, and I met with representatives in Demorest with Mr. Musselwhite and Mr. Popham to talk about water. Some of you might remember the water wars with Baldwin and Demorest when we fought. Right, exactly. When we fought over how much Baldwin would sell water to Demorest for. Well, what you didn't hear is that there was a very quiet conversation this year where we achieved a new water rate. Our CAO went to their CAO, said, here's what it costs for Baldwin to make water. do you accept this? Yes, they did. And now we can have even better conversations about capacity. As both cities are growing, we have to talk about water capacity because we have the straw in the Chattahoochee. And again, Baldwin and Demorest combined serve Habersham County up to almost 80% of the water that Habersham uses. So it's incumbent upon us to have a good relationship. So how would I do that? You actually sit down at the table. Like Tom, I'm a face-to-face kind of person.
Okay. Tom?
I couldn't agree more about meeting face-to-face and listening. And when you listen and you meet face-to-face, it doesn't mean you always agree. And it doesn't, you're not making any commitments. You're hearing about the things that they have done. I met during this, over the course of the 8 months, I had a lunch meeting with John Barrow, who, the mayor of Cornelia, and what better a person to meet with, to learn about what do you see as a mayor? What are you seeing in regards to Baldwin from another, someone else's eyes? But I got criticized for that. I did. I got the how dare you meet with John Barrow? How dare I meet with other leaders as if I'm somehow scheming? And to the contrary, I was meeting to learn. I'm a learner. I ask questions. I listen. I don't make assumptions in any way. I listen and gain ideas and be able to put things together to identify the best opportunity that we have to be able to move forward.
Well, you mentioned earlier maybe not such great relationship with Demorest. Have you sat down and met with the leaders of Demorest?
I have been in constant communication, really, with one of the council members who's been very helpful about sharing his thoughts on
have you met with
how
their
things.
mayor?
I have not met with him as of yet. No, but again, and I hope that's something that we agree on. It was something that I'm sure predates you. As well, of some of the struggles and some of the, So, and again, what I say about how we've come a long way, that's a compliment to the leadership right now, to Stephanie and to the efforts that have made, because it is very important. The question we all want to ask ourselves, and I'm not alluding to anything here, but do they want to work with us or do they have to work with us? And
time is up. Would you like to rebuttal on that?
Well, it's a little bit of both, Tom. People want to work together or they have to work together by virtue of, for example, just our connected systems. And one of the things I think this council has been able to do in 4 years is to negotiate lost in Banks County quite effectively, to work with Demorest on water. We go to the HC3 meetings where we meet as a county and talk about education and infrastructure and growth. So I've been a part of all of that. And I think there's a better feeling recently since those HC3 meetings where we are working together more collaboratively. I think some of the old burdens are being laid down and we're forging new relationships.
Okay. And this will be our last and final question. I think Tom goes first on this one. Are you open to giving new businesses incentives in order to attract them to Baldwin? And what is your definition of business friendly? Your time starts now.
I think it would be for me to not have a complete understanding as to a lot of the issues that are involved with why that question came up and the underlying issues. I would hate to, at this point, be able to give a definitive answer. I believe that we should always be a place where businesses want to set up shop, and for citizens to be able to open a business. I think that we should be a business-friendly place. Absolutely, we should be a business-friendly place. We should, and part of that is also thinking about their workers. I think that I know that we made some attempts in the past to annex Fielddale, and some people have asked me as I've gone along that what do you think about about that, about and I couldn't be more against that. I think what we need to do is have conversations with businesses such as Fieldale and say, tell us about your workers. Tell us about the people that come here every day that are working. What can we as a city do? What can we help us be a part of a vision about what we can do to make Baldwin and Fieldale, just as one example, a place where people want to work, where people want to live, where people want to thrive and raise a family.
Okay, are you done? Okay, Stephanie, same question to you. Are you open to giving new businesses incentives in order to attract them to Baldwin? And what is your definition of business friendly? Your time starts now.
I think Baldwin is a business-friendly community. As you know, the industrial park resides in Baldwin. So we have a particular kind of business in the industrial park. But we also would like to be the place for that entrepreneurial spirit. You see a lot of smaller businesses in Baldwin, whether they're the little bodegas, Casa de Jalisco, which serves a particular population, but we Anglos are starting to find it now, too, for the good candy and the meats. But I think that entrepreneurial spirit is in Baldwin, whether it's a tire shop or a bodega, that people want to come to Baldwin because we have a low millage rate, we have low taxes, and we really do love our entrepreneurs. So I think Baldwin has that balance of those big businesses like Lindsay Windows or Magnolia Windows, and then we have the smaller mom and pop places. So it's a great place to live and work. I think we already are business friendly.
So are you willing to offer business incentives to new industries coming in?
I think some of the incentives are already built in. I know some folks have approached us about system connection fees and things like that. But when you bring in a big business that's going to be a pull on the system, the business needs to invest in the water or sewer infrastructure, and they do that through system connection fees. So the conversation behind that question is, would we eliminate system connection fees? Probably not. So we have to protect the infrastructure there.
How about tax incentives?
Some folks have come to us to talk about Freeport tax exemption, for example. I'm Charlie Five Ash when I first came on council, and Partnership Habersham came to us to talk about Freeport. That's probably something we could continue to talk about, but...
Okay, time is up. Would you like to rebuttal on that?
I think that I would be open to an incentive only if it was something that was a unanimous decision with the council. Again, I think it's something that you don't go as a mayor and just say we're going to do something and that's going to happen. We have to work with council. We have to look at all areas of here's the struggles that we have with that, or here's what it could look like. I think we should do is I think we should explore every single opportunity working with various areas within Habersham as well to see how can we grow our businesses. And I agree. I couldn't agree more with what Stephanie said. The mom and pop type places. I've heard a lot of people that have said, I would never open a business here. We should ask why. Why is that? And be able to start having that conversation.
Okay, time is up. That concludes our debate. I want to thank both of you for being here. I ask you to stick around. You want me to ask questions, don't you? Go ahead. Okay, so we will continue with our questions. Okay, what do you pursue? Let's see, whose time was it? Tom's first. Y'all are confusing to me.
No,
you're getting along so well.
Okay, I think that's both of our leadership styles, right? That we're going to sit down, we're going to get to know each other, that it's not going to be adversarial. I don't air dirty laundry in public.
I think that's great.
So
I do. So I'm going to ask you this. What do you perceive as the main challenge in this role? And I'm only going to give you one minute. I'm going to only give you 1 minute because I have another one that I want to ask you.
Let's say the word at the same time because I think we're both going to say it.
Actually, I'm going to go somewhere else. Is that I think that is engaging the community. I think that's it. I mean, really, and I'm not even going to point fingers as to why. Okay. But again, when you have 4 people that show up at a town hall, there's a problem. And I think that the movies and those things that we have done that involve kids have been great. And I think that I can't say enough praise for those areas. But when it comes to other areas that are not entertainment based, the community is disengaged. And one thing that I would like to do is to set up neighborhood small groups to hear people where the mayor and maybe a council member, but again, however that would look, but neighborhood groups to listen to their ideas, to hear the struggles that they have, to hear the concerns that they have. Setting up a group specifically for business leaders and business owners that are in the community to here's where our frustrations are, here's where our concerns are, to engage the community. Though.
Okay, your time is up. What do you perceive as the main challenge?
Finances, money. I mean, how do you run such a complicated business with such a small budget? I mean, when 26% of our budget comes from taxes, and that's a struggle for our citizens. The struggle is real. We don't want to go past that. Where do you find the other 66% of the budget? And from grants, a fire truck is $1 million. I think when I become rich and famous someday, the first thing I'm going to do is start a rural fire truck grant opportunity. It is so hard for a small rural municipality with 2 highways that go through it, with Fieldale, with silos that could catch on fire and explode, with senior homes. Our fire department is important to us, right? But finances are surely the stumbling block for growth in the city.
Your time is up as well. Okay. I had to shorten that because unfortunately we are going to have to take another break. Okay. But I do have, when we come back, I've got one more question for you, and then it's going to conclude. Okay. And if anybody wants to call in, 706-839-1490. Stephanie, you're up. Your position will likely attract criticism, more so than kudos. How will you handle it? Time starts now.
The position will attract, or
your position as mayor will attract criticism. People love to criticize politicians.
Yeah, that comes with the territory. But when you are knowledgeable about the decisions that are made and you work to inform the public, like Tom was talking about, I think you can give a cogent, concrete answer. Whether somebody wants to receive that is on them. But I know that as mayor, whether it's me or Tom, that we're going to try our best to give honest, concrete answers to the citizenry and work for the best of the citizens at all times. If people criticize, they criticize. I mean, and then again, it's an opportunity to invite people to serve on the council. We have 3 new council people that ran without opposition. I thank Tom for running. I think it's great when the citizens are engaged. The fact that we had 3 council people run without opposition is frustrating, but we see that all across the county. I'm glad Demorest has a hotly contested race and that they were able to do the debate with the Northeast Georgian. So when people criticize, it's also an opportunity for an invitation to come serve and come learn and take the classes and be part of the solutions.
You're such an English teacher.
In my past life. Yes.
Okay. Tom, the same question. Your position will likely attract criticism. How will you handle it? Time starts now.
I welcome the criticism. It's not that I want people to feel that they have that angry about something, but I think that the mayor should be somebody that people can know that they can come and they can vent to, that they can and trust that will be received with empathy, somebody who will listen and help. And I think it's really critical that we help them understand that we reflect back to them, so they know that we're hearing them. And to be honest, a lot of times that's what people want. They want to be heard. They don't want to have it thrown back in their face. But they want to know that you care and that you listen. I'll tell you this. the level of criticism, there's no level of criticism more than when you got to tell somebody no when they're trying to buy a house. And they want to escalate it up to God, okay, for it to be fixed. And I have had people express with everything, every word you can think of, every expletive, when we had to say no. And what it all comes down to is, first off, listening and making sure that they know you're listening, reflecting back, but also clearly explaining why. I've always said that if we have to deny somebody's loan, we owe it to the salesperson that got it, the referral partner that maybe referred it, but most importantly, that customer that entrusted that decision to us, to explain why, so they can be put on the right path. They may not like the answer. Laws are laws, rules are rules, but so they know that we do care and help them understand that.
Time is up. Okay. I have one last question. I'm not going to ask for a rebuttal on that because we are almost out of time. I have one last question, and that is the big question for all politicians here in Habersham County. And this will be very quickly. And we ask this of everyone. And Tom, you will get to go first on this. What mayonnaise do you prefer on your sandwiches or any thing that you cook with?
The kind that my wife likes.
Well, that's not an acceptable answer. But we will take that. Okay. All right.
I'm going to have to then guilty as charged. But my wife is a Mayo fan, so
okay.
I defer to her.
All right. So he has no clue what he likes. Okay. Very indecisive man over here.
Right.
Stephanie?
Well, I'm laughing because my mom and I had this conversation yesterday. I went to the grocery store, and there was only a small bottle of Duke's that was left on the shelf. Nothing bigger. So, yeah, I'm a Duke's fan.
Okay, you're a Duke's fan. So there you know, all of those people out there listening, and people have been waiting for me to ask that question all morning long.
The burning question.
The burning question that everyone, and I will tell you, we've had gubernatorial candidates who have got that question wrong. And,
what's the right answer?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should tell y'all that or not, but there are people who base their candidates on that question.
I even like Duke's on French fries. So
Really? Is that-
yeah.
Well, did you take our poll on the French fries?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that no one called in. We had heard that a lot of people were going to call in, and no one called in. So I guess you guys did a very, very good job. And I want to thank both of you for coming on this morning.